What up, Bulls Nation? We've got a live CHGO Bulls podcast coming up for y'all right around the corner. Crazy action in the NBA playoffs last night. The Celtics blow another big lead, plus some more mock draft roundup. We're talking Khaman Maluach, Derik Queen, Thomas Sorber, all the big men next. What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome into the CHGO Bulls podcast. Coming to you live from our studios here in West Loop, downtown Chicago. I'm Peck, Bulls _ Peck. That's Big Day. Bow! PAWL Sports. Bow! POP Esports. Will the Go Gottlieb. Will _ Gottlieb. Perfectly coiffed. And the queen of the controls, the one and only Katie Duffy. What up, Kate? Hey!
Chicago Pope.
Pope.
Like Chicago Hope. Well done.
Wow.
Release the smoke! We want the smoke! Shout out to the Street Profits Wrestling, who is also from Chicago. It all connects!
Wait, there's a Pope wrestler?
No. There's a group called the Street Profits, and they say we want the smoke. Oh, okay. There's the connection.
There is a non-zero chance that the Pope has watched THT play basketball.
There's a non-zero chance that he's a CHGO diehard subscriber.
Yeah.
That's right. Just like all you guys can be out there can be. Go to
probably
allchgo.com.
You know,
there's
some
a
sort
non-zero
of,
chance that after he was like, I don't know what the word is, presented as the Pope, that he went straight to tankathon.com and did a
little
simulation.
Celebratory tank spin.
Yeah.
I'm the new Pope. First order of business, a tank spin.
Let's get this frozen envelope going.
Speaking of which, hit that like button if you're hanging out with us in the chat. Thank you. If you want that tank spin. Fine Day said, Chicago Pope hopefully means the Bulls will be blessed this season. There's been a lot of that kind of talk among Chicago sports fans online today after we heard the news that the newly chosen Pope is a Chicago guy. Man, people get really excited about a new Pope being poped.
They do. They do.
Wow.
A lot of Catholics in the world. Bro.
I don't think. Well, I don't think we've seen this much hype. I don't think we would all care this much if he wasn't from Chicago.
I don't care, even though he is from Chicago.
I only care because he's from Chicago.
Enjoy your religious whatevers.
Yes. Thank you, Matt Peck.
Sure. I saw a Photoshop of a Chicago-style hot dog
your religious
in a Pope
whatevers.
hat earlier today. That made me laugh.
You saw what in the Pope hat?
Like a Photoshopped image of a Chicago-style dog wearing a Pope hat.
Oh, okay. All right.
I like that.
I saw the one of someone that dressed him like Mike Dicker.
Oh, yeah. Did see that one, too.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty clever, too. Or whoever put the Bulls 98 theme behind it, of the Jumbotron, of the Running of the Bulls with the theme playing while he was being presented and walking out. Whoever did that was awesome. Well done.
You know the Pope, frequent participant in the running of the Bulls.
Oh, man, look.
Always.
You know he was watching Mike.
And, yeah.
Back in the day. You know he was watching him.
Managed to not once get gourded.
He did
for
not.
him.
Impressive.
Did you guys see that tweet I sent you about Tom Thibodeau?
Oh, yes, I did.
No, I
So
didn't.
the new Pope is a Villanova grad, and somebody, I wish I knew who it was, somebody tweeted, Villanova grad who's ready to dedicate his life to his job, keep Tom Thibodeau away from this man.
Hey, man. He probably wants to get a piece of that.
I'm sure he'd be happy to be on Tom Thibodeau's team.
The
right
Knicks are up 2-0.
Yeah, they are.
And there's our segue.
Boom.
Because
Segue Pope.
Guys, Knicks, 2 road wins. I saw earlier today the Celtics have led for like 80-something minutes of this series so far.
So stupid.
And the Knicks have led for like 10.
It's so dumb.
Yeah. I mean, it is crazy that the Knicks have now overcome 2 20-point deficits on the road to begin this series. I don't know if you guys think it says more about the Knicks and their resolve and just Brunson being one of the most clutch players in the league this season for the past couple seasons, or just how much the Celtics appear to be frauds.
Frauds.
You know, who they could come back and win the next 4.
They could.
They could pull what they did against the Bulls in 2017.
They could.
never forget Rajon Rondo. But like their half-court offensive sets down the stretch of each of these first two games has been like just unapologetically abysmal.
Yeah, it's basically Tatum will have or Brown will have the ball, and it's like, what do you want to do? You want to do something? All right, I'll go to the bucket. Oh, no, it looked like somebody standing in there. Okay, I'll bring it back out. I'll shoot a three. Offensive rebound. All right, let's shoot another three. Offensive rebound. Hey, let's shoot one more three. And then they go down the other way. They're frauds. Like, it just feels real fraudulent, and I don't like it at all. And, of course, please don't take into consideration that I don't give a damn if the Knicks win anything ever. Don't take that into consideration. But I'm just telling you the facts.
These teams.
You know what I mean? Right? Just say, well, I hate the Knicks more. But just take this to consideration. 2 of 15 from the three-point line in the fourth quarter. That was Boston.
Ugh.
10 of 40 total. After going, 10 of 65 that last game? That's Boston. They went 8 minutes in the fourth without scoring. 8.
Yeah, they had like a dozen straight missed field goals.
13. They had a baker's dozen
13
of consecutive shots missed. And what the hell was Tatum doing on the last possession?
Dude.
Somebody tell me this. I don't know. Like, I watched the play 1,000 times just to satisfy my insanity because I'm watching it and I'm watching the pick being set by Al Horford on OG Anunoby, which is basically giving him, oh, you want to go this way? You want to go this way? He decides, hey, I'm going to go over here to the right. Oh, no, I don't think that's going to work. Let me cross it over. When he crosses it over, you can see the path to the rim. Just attack the bucket. See if you get the foul. No, he says, no, I'm going to cross it over one more time, fake over here, and then I'm going to cross it over again. And then instead of going straight, I'm going to glide over to the baseline. Oops, I made a mistake. Let me pass it. Oh, no, Miles Bridges is a good defender. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know what this team is doing. It feels fraudulent, and it's upsetting to watch. It's upsetting me to watch.
A lot of people were talking about the coaching matchup in that the fourth quarter of each of these two games. People saying Mazzulla had a timeout if he wanted to use it on that last Celtics possession when they were down 1. They choose not to as they bring the ball up court. I get that part, but then once you see that Tatum possession is going nowhere and you still got 5 seconds or so on the clock to use that timeout and then drop something better, and he chose not to. What did you make of the X's and O's in Mazzulla's head as both of these games have gone down?
Yeah, I thought that was pretty weird. I mean, they basically got the play before Tatum just ran it up the court and got a wide open runway dunk.
Open.
And it was the same exact thing. Yes. They tried to get the switch on Mitchell Robinson. Robinson just couldn't even get anywhere close to containing him. Wide open dunk. And it was so fast that it actually gave the Knicks enough time to go down and draw the foul on the other end. And they still had time to come back. I mean, that's how quickly they operated. And after the game, Mazzulla was just saying that they basically wanted to do that same thing. Didn't want to call a timeout because it had worked so well in the possession before. But I absolutely agree that okay, you get stopped on the initial action. You don't get the switch you want. Now call a timeout and run something from the sideline. You can't afford to not get a shot off there. Exactly. And just the Celtics team, I think that the criticism of the NBA discourse and too many threes and all this stuff is a little bit overblown when you look at how a lot of teams are creating some of these shots.
Okay.
The Celtics took a ton of threes in both games. They were 15 of 60 in the first game and 10 of 40 in the second game. So they're 25 for 100 in the first two games. Not very good.
Ridiculous.
But it's they're not even generating good shots. They're just shooting when it comes to them. They're not putting any pressure on the rim. They're not getting into any offense. It's just weird. They've forgotten how to generate the shots. They've forgotten what to do in order to generate the right shots. Right. And so they're just going straight to the outcome, and it's just not working. And you give this Knicks team, or really any of these teams that we're seeing these incredible comebacks, you give them an opening, and with the way the game is played right now, it's you can get back in. Yes, and now if you are back in, the other team is on their heels. They're feeling a little shook because they just gave up a 20-point lead. Yeah. And so, I mean,
Twice.
they've got to be pretty rattled right now. I still feel like they should win the series, but it's so, I mean, I don't know what the numbers say about teams that go down 0-2 at home. I mean, that's a
Is
tough hold to climb out of.
85%, I believe, the people who go up 2-0, win the series.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember when the Bulls came back and beat the Knicks. And
I think I saw a stat after that result last night that was in the rare scenarios where the road team in a conference semi goes up 2-0, they're 33-2 in those series or something like that.
Doesn't make sense. And the Bulls are one of those, as you mentioned earlier. It just doesn't make sense what Boston is doing. And it's frustrating It is, because the playoffs have been otherwise really fun to watch. And I've been watching really good basketball being played. And then just to sit and watch 3.5 quarters of just basketball, and then just real basketball at the end, it's just really frustrating to watch. And again, it has nothing to do with me with the 3-point shooting, or the constant amount of 3-pointers that they take. Yes, they're taking bad ones at bad times, but I don't mind that they're taking all the 3. That's what the game is. I understand that. But they are not doing what it takes to win. And that is the problem. They're giving them the lane. They're saying, dude, we can give you the lane. Like Robinson, once you bring him out, you know what I'm saying? The lane is open. That's it. Go do something with it. Go sell it. Like, it doesn't make sense. And it's just confusing me, and it just feels like they're fraudulent, and I'm saying it.
And, like, people are mostly hounding them for, like, yo, if the threes aren't falling, do something else. Mm-hmm. They've obviously been a team that relies heavily on 3-point volume and efficiency. Last year's champions, and again this year. And that part is true. But to me, the thing that's even more egregious is, like, whether or not it's a 3-point attempt. And a lot of them, it's just like they're missing open looks.
Yeah.
They're getting open looks and missing them. It's that, like, down the stretch in both of these fourth quarters so far, whenever what presents itself after their first initial action of a pick and roll from the top of the key, if nothing materializes from that, they don't run a second or third action. Yeah. Like, there are no other flare screens or anything else going on. It's just like, okay, maybe we got to switch, maybe we didn't, but I didn't find a shot I loved after this initial pick and roll, and then everybody's just standing around. And there's been no ball movement from the Celtics late in these games.
And I will say this one thing about the Knicks, and this has been timeless for Tibbs. If you don't kill him, he's coming back to get you, dog. He's like Jason or Freddie in that kind of way. Like, you have to put him down, and his team's down. If you give them any kind of daylight, they're coming back. I remember those Bulls teams when they would go down by like 10 and it meant nothing, or they'll go back 15, it meant nothing. If he has time, and the Knicks are doing the same thing, you're up by 20, it means nothing. You better go up by 30. Like, you have to, for real, like, continue to put pressure on the Tom Thibodeau teams, because they will not stop. Resiliency is definitely one of their best skills.
Yeah, especially, I'm glad you mentioned the resiliency thing, because you look at, like, the Warriors-Timberwolves game 1. Steph's out. They go up by 23. And then fourth quarter, Anthony Edwards finally starts, like, going to the basket and making some shots. And they cut it down to 9. But the Warriors, even without Steph, had the resilience to hold them off and make another run. And whether it was like a Buddy Hield 3 or Jimmy Butler, like, grift for, 2 free throws, they figured out a way. And this Celtics team just does not have that. Yeah. They just don't.
Yeah. It's disappointing. Chris, do you think Porzingis has to play a bigger role in this?
I mean, he does. I guess he's sick and not really able to
which is weird.
Do much more.
Yeah.
They need more out of him, but, like, he was not the reason they lost this game. Like, there's so much more to it.
You're up by 20. You should win.
Yeah.
You got Tatum Brown.
And it was like,
go win.
It's not like this was like 140 to 137 game.
Right.
This was in the 90s. Right. I mean, you can't, that's like such a large percentage of the total points scored. You just can't do that.
Can't do that, man. Can't do it.
Yeah. Very curious to see if the Celtics remember that they're a good team in game 3 and moving forward, because I just inexcusably bad execution in both of these. 10 of 45 collectively in the fourth quarter from the field in games 1 and 2.
What are you doing?
Just ugly bad basketball. The other game last night was not as close. Thunder put up 87 first half points, an NBA record, on their way to a 149 to 106 victory in game 2, led by as many as 49. They very confidently tie up that series 1-1 after the Nuggets stole game 1. The Thunder had 6 players, all 5 starters and one of their bench guys, in double figures by halftime. Joker, a tough night for him. He got in foul trouble early, ended up fouling out in the third quarter. We saw something similar in one of the Nuggets-Clippers games of round 1. The only game in that series that was not close was a blowout win for the Clippers.
Yeah.
After the Nuggets stole one. So kind of a similar script here in the conference semis. I do think OKC needed to remind everyone that they were the team that had 68 wins this season.
Speak, Matt.
But I also, over the last few years, have never been one to count out the Joker-led Nuggets. They are a good team that knows how to win tight games in the playoffs. They've proven it time and again. I do think now that they got that emphatic win in game 2, the Thunder are back in control of this series with a good chance to go to Denver and at least get a split and get home court back. Do you guys feel differently? Do you feel the same?
I think, Denver's in it. They're not out of it. They definitely have a chance to get a victory and do something. You know what? We'll take this break and we'll come back and I'll go a little further into that.
All right. We'll wrap up with a few thoughts on Nuggets Thunder. On the other side of the break, hit the like button if you want a tank spin, y'all. Let's get there.
Spin it.
Spin it.
If you ever tried to buy a home, get a loan, or just deal with money stuff in general, you know that it can be a lot. But that's why I got to tell you about the Rate app, ladies and gentlemen, rate.com. And it is seriously a game changer. You can get pre-approved for a mortgage in minutes without the help or the need to jump through millions of hoops or thousands of hoops or even hundreds of hoops. And if you're thinking about home equity loan or a personal loan, you can secure one in under 15 days. That is impressive. The Rate app can also help you find the best homeowners and auto insurance based on what you actually need. The whole thing is powered by AI. This is the only time Matt will approve AI. So it's smart and it saves you time and money. That's why he with it. And something that is an unexpected bonus, they have added over 800 free wellness videos. Stuff like meditation, breathing exercises, stretching, basically tools to help you feel better mentally and physically. So if you're stressed out about a loan, mortgage, or life in general, because it can happen, just let the Rate app handle it. And once that's covered, you can hit one of those free wellness apps and chill the heck out. It's one of the apps that will help both your wallet, your well-being, your brain, and your mind too. Download the Rate app today and get started. Scan it. You see it on your screen. Scan it, download it, get it, save.
Is that it?
That's it.
Oh, okay, cool. I wasn't familiar with that ending. Today's show also brought to you by Empire. Just like your favorite team needs that home court advantage. Good job, Celtics. Your home needs home floor advantage. And Empire Today can help you get it. Empire Today has flooring experts, dedicated flooring professionals who focus on flooring every single day of their lives.
My life.
Because it's their passion.
Yeah.
And their expertise. We've all been to some of those big box stores in the past for one project or another. You wander endless aisles. Somehow you're hauling all those materials home yourself, looking for somebody to install it for you, or God forbid, trying to figure it out and install it yourself, because I'm a DIY person, and until you realize that you aren't as good of a DIY person as you thought or hoped or tell people. No. Big box stores might have a flooring department, but the person helping you with flooring that day, scheduled to work in flooring that day, Dave's poor friend Biff, was probably working on sinks yesterday.
He is not
out in the parking lot garden doing, flower pot May deals the day before that. Light bulbs tomorrow. Today, flooring, I guess. Who wants help from that kind of person? Not me, not Dave, not even Biff. Who's the one there pretending he can help you? He can't.
He cannot. With
Empire Today, you get clear upfront and all-inclusive pricing. Plus, you can schedule installation as soon as the next day from their flooring experts. Schedule a free and home estimate today because some things are just better done at home. CHGO listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code CHGO. Yes, you heard that right. A $350 discount with promo code CHGO. Restrictions apply. Visit empiretoday.com/CHGO for details. 588-2300. Go!
Empire Today.
Oh, with the
like.
Finish it up.
With the thumb.
Aaron Gordon.
Oop. Yeah.
All right. Before we dive into our mock draft selections for today, Dave, a couple final thoughts on Thunder Nuggets. One of my favorite phrases to say, by the way.
Thunder Nuggets.
Thunder Nuggets.
Yeah. Get it at your local store.
Like chicken nuggets
honey mustard.
Chicken nuggets on steroids.
Yes. Thunder Nuggets. Barbecue sauce. So, yes, Denver's in it. They can definitely take one of these next two. I'm not doubting them. I'm not doubting Denver because Joker's too good, and he affects everything on the floor for Denver. And Aaron Gordon's been really, really great. And Russell Westbrook has really found, his footing on the team. And Jamal Murray is very capable of scoring 40 points. And if Jamal Murray scores 40, they don't lose. That's how I look at it. But OKC needed this game. They didn't just need the win. They needed the dominance. They needed to show everybody just who the hell you are. Shout out Black Panther. They need to show everybody just who they are out here, all right? We won 68 games for a reason. We were number one in all these categories for a reason. We have the MVP front runner for a reason. That man had 34 points on 11 of 13 shooting. That's dumb. That's just truly dumb. So I love how they played. I mean, they took away everything that they wanted to do offensively, stifled them, and then just ran them out the gym. Hit all the shots, all the three-pointers, hit all the two-pointers. Like, they just had a ball out there. And that's what you needed to see. You needed to see that. That needed to happen for OKC. And now you can truly say, okay, it's a series now. Because if it was just a 1-point victory or a 2-point victory like that, I think Denver would be getting more acclaim and more love right now. They needed to stomp on them in this game.
Yeah, if you're Adelman, you're telling your team, we did our job. We went into the Lions' den, we went to OKC, and we got one of these 2 games. And now we come back to our house with a tied series. And if you're Mark Daigneault, you're telling your guys, this is who we are. Like, let's not get swept up in the result of the first game. Let's lean into who we are and how we've been beating teams all year.
Yeah.
And so I think you can really spin it either way. But at the end of the day, it's a 1-1 series. The Thunder should be the favorites. They're the better team.
Yeah.
And I think the Nuggets will have to prove that they can win the series by taking at least one, if not both of these games. The Thunder are not a team that's had a lot of clutch experience. They've been destroying teams all year.
Yes.
So I don't think it's that concerning that if you're the Nuggets, I don't think it's that concerning that how you lost. It's more that you lost and now the series is tied. But I do think that the Thunder should continue to dominate like this because they're just that good and they're more rested. But I just think, like, if you're the Nuggets, you can't let this game get in your head. You just have to look at the results being 1-1.
All right. Well, so we got a couple more games on deck tonight, and I honestly, I think Nuggets will split. We'll go back to OKC tied 2-2 for Game 5, and I hope that happens, and I can't wait for it. And let's hope it goes 7.
Yeah.
Shifting focus, yesterday we dove into some of the latest mock drafts around a bunch of different NBA publications, talking about a few key guys that could be on that board if the Bulls stay at 12. And today we're talking a few more, starting with the Athletic NBA's most recent mock draft from this week, and a name that I don't think a lot of people anticipate to fall. As Adrian Mask in the comments just said, if any chance Maluach is still on the board, you run to the podium. He could be a Porzingis, Chet level player. So we are going to kick things off with Khaman Maluach, who in the Athletic NBA mock draft most recently fell to the Bulls at 12. Again, I think unlikely scenario, but crazier things have happened in NBA drafts. Obviously, a name that is big in Bulls fans' minds. We've already spent some time in a previous episode way back when, before the Bulls season was even over, when we did our first initial dip into the draft pool, talking Maluach. So let's revisit it now. We saw a deep run from Duke. We saw more of Maluach in, high-octane, high-stakes games for a Duke team that made a run to the Final Four. The more I watched of Maluach, the more I liked, but then also the more I became aware of maybe some of his limitations, at least as a player in his first few NBA seasons.
Yeah. As usual, you said it correctly. Just watching it, if you just looked at it early on in the season, I thought he would be a no doubt higher, in this draft. But him falling, honestly, isn't surprising to me, because you're looking at it, and the one thing I point to specifically is like rim protection. Like, that's what you're getting. Like, I know that he's huge. He's 7'2". No matter what skill that he lacks or, doesn't develop, you can't see size. So 7'2", and he can be a rim protector. Now, he's not a shot blocker. He is more of a, as I like to say, a shot deterrer. And he can definitely be that. But at 7'2", you can't teach that kind of size. So he can definitely be a guy you plug in no matter what is happening. You're like, here, just go stand there and put your hands in the air, and you can teach him everything else. But he has so much potential, so much upside to his game about what he can be. So it can go beyond that 7'2", and a guy who can maybe pull you out of the paint, and cook you a little bit that way as well. One of his things was rebounding, even though down the stretch, that kind of...
He had 0 rebounds in that game against Houston.
That's wild when I read that. I was like, really? That's crazy. So
Patrick Williams.
You know, so
We've already got one of those.
That was really that was surprising to me to watch. But his size will get him looked at, and his potential will get him picked for sure. So I don't mind people being so super high on him. But honestly, Matt, I don't think it would be a shock if he round up at number 12.
Yeah, I think I'm starting to feel like there is more potential for him to fall to the back half of the top 10, if not later. I mean, you just look at some of the teams out there and what their needs might be. I think it will just kind of depend on the lottery order. I don't think he's going top 4, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's going to be Cooper, Harper, probably Ace, and VJ.
Yeah.
And then after that, Philadelphia, I mean, maybe they could take him there if they feel like they just want a Embiid replacement or somebody that can play there in the event that Embiid is like done. But they have Andre Drummond. They're a team that probably is going to want to like go with more experience and try to get back to the high end of the East next year. Brooklyn, like maybe I just don't really see them as being like a Maluach destination. They've got Nick Claxton. They've got Day'Ron Sharpe. They've got Noah Clowney. They've got guys that they like and are interested in, but they're also so far away that like taking a rim rolling center, a very dependent player is probably not going to make a lot of sense. Toronto, I think that's maybe the most likely landing spot for me because they've got Barnes, they've got Ingram, they've got Quickly, they've got Barrett, but they don't have like a long-term center option. And obviously the African roots, I think, is something that Masai would be interested in. But after that, it's like San Antonio, you have Victor, Houston, you've got Alperen Şengün, Portland, they just drafted Donovan Clingan. Dallas, they've got AD, they've got Gafford, they've got Lively.
That's true.
And then you have the Bulls. So I think that there is a chance that one of these guys that we're talking about today will fall. I do think Maluach ends up going a little bit higher. I think Maluach is an interesting prospect. He's incredible finishing at the rim. He shot 77.6% at the rim. I mean, just catches everything, dunks it. Very good, like rim roller, lob catcher type. Good screen setter, and is just like absolutely enormous. 7'2", 9'9" standing reach was the report.
7'5".
So if you just put it up there, he will go get it. He's a very good offensive rebounder. Of the database that I'm putting together, I have 73 players in here so far. He had the highest offensive rebounding rate of any of them. And I think he's going to be like a good drop big rim protector. You mentioned, Dave, the block percentage a little bit lower than some of the other bigs that have gone kind of in the lottery range of previous drafts. His is 6.8%. So to put that into context, Donovan Clingan last year, 11.4%. Zach Edey, 6.9%. That was his lowest of his career. Yves Missy, 7.3. Mark Williams, 11.4. Chet Holmgren, 12.6. Walker Kessler, 19.1, which is like the best of all time. And Derek Lively, 12.7. So he's very much below all of those, but he does deter a lot of shots. He does make people take contested pull-up jumpers in the mid-range or just spray it out, which is good. That's what you want, because he just takes away those shots altogether, even if it doesn't show up in the box score as a block. And then there's some people that think that maybe he's got some upside as a shooter or somebody that can create his own shot even a little bit. So definitely some upside there, but to me, very much like the archetypal rim roller, rim protecting big. And I think the Bulls could definitely use that. But as we've talked about, I'm just not sure that really fits Arturas's vision of what a center is in the Bulls offense.
Grandmama's flight school in the comments. I didn't know Larry Johnson had a flight school.
Shout out.
With how important and crucial big men have been in these playoffs, might cause teams to pick this position earlier than expected.
Excellent point.
And so you were talking about teams and their needs ahead of the Bulls if they do stay at 12 coat. And so in this particular athletic mock that's new that we're talking about, outside of that top 4 that's kind of chalk, Trey Johnson, Con Knipple, Yakachonis, Queen going to Toronto at 8, as you were talking about their need for a big man. Spurs going Carter Bryant, Rockets CMB, and Fears going to Dallas at 11, and boom, there it is. That in that scenario, Maluach still on the board at 12. So it could be Maluach, or maybe it could be Derik Queen.
I do think draft order and like what happens in the lottery will be a big determining factor of whether or not he has the potential to fall, but I do think it's possible.
Right. Let's knock out a couple more ads. We'll come back. We'll keep talking about Maluach for a bit, and then we'll move on to some other mock draft selections for the Bulls. Hit the like.
Hit the like button.
Hit the like. Today's show brought to you by Circus Sportsbook.
Circus!
I love gambling on NBA playoffs. It's one of the most fun things in the world.
He has a song.
Whatever the sport, the app to bet is Circus Sports Illinois. Maybe you like betting on baseball. That's fun too. Circus Sports is sports betting the way it should be. Circus Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service, featuring real human beings and not stupid AI bots.
Your favorite. Human beings, not the bots.
Human beings. Beating hearts. Human brains, not the robot brains. Robot brains are trash and never help anyone in need of real customer service because they're robots. Thank you for the example.
I got you.
Hey, I have a question about this product. Beep Borp. What am I supposed to do with Beep Borp?
Thank you. Goodbye.
Shout out to Circa and their incredible customer service. We can attest to it in all of our fun trips out to that Circa Resort and Casino in Vegas for Summer League.
Fun.
Top-notch customer service. Bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season, including the playoffs. Spreads, props, futures, even in-game betting. Circa Sports has it for you. Fun and bet like a pro from anytime, anywhere in Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circusports.com. Must be 21 and older. A gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Oh, weather is changing, ladies and gentlemen. You got to be right because it's going to get warm here in the city of Chicago. You know the Pope's from here? I don't know if you knew that. Well, you need to be hollering at Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Why? Because they have been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years. Now, and I mean right now, is the time to get your air conditioning checked out. And Four Seasons experts are ready to help you with your AC installation, maintenance, and repair. 2024 was officially Chicago's hottest year on record. The heat index reached over 114 degrees.
Too hot.
150 points over the last summer. And that's, from O'Hare, so it's real. They're not going to lie to you about this. That's hot, ladies and gentlemen. And when it's hot and humid, you want to know your home will be cool and comfortable like you are the Qualphone Will to Go Gottlieb. Four Seasons expert technicians ensure you always receive reliable service. And Four Seasons doesn't charge more for service during nights, weekends, or holidays. Thank you, Matt Peck. Save up to $4,000 on new comfort systems with Four Seasons. New AC units from $39 a month and AC furnace combos from $57 a month. That's pretty dang good, ladies and gentlemen. Your trusted local experts are Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's Four Seasons Heating, Cooling, and.com. Because for all the right reasons,
call 866 Seasons.
Ooh.
I can never not think of The Wedding Singer when I hear that. Holiday. He's like super depressed.
He was so sad. Right. Celebrate. That was so funny.
Oh. Sideburns lady.
Oh, my God.
And the mutants at table 9.
It's not thinking of Culture Club when you watch it. Do you really want to hurt me? That's all I think about is what it's saying. Every time.
Sir, one more outburst and I will strangle you with that microphone cord. You understand me? Oh, man. Katie.
Great movie.
Have you seen The Wedding Singer?
I have not.
Oh, my God. What are you doing with your life?
Not watching The Wedding Singer.
Drew Barrymore.
The OG Sandler Barrymore rom-com.
I do like Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, you would like this.
Good.
You would really enjoy it.
I will put it on the list below everything else.
She has no list.
All right, so back to Maluach, guys. I saw somebody in the comments talking about it, and they were talking about it in the athletic write-up. It's the whole, the feel for the game part of Maluach being a concern.
Okay.
In addition to actual feel, his touch isn't great.
Yeah.
Other than being a semi-competent, rim roller and rim finisher, he does not have great hands. But then also just the general floor vision and understanding where to be when, and because it is a player who is fairly new, all things considered, to the game of basketball.
Yeah.
Compared to some of these other kids who, start playing immediately, and all AAU circuits and all of that. Like he is we talk about raw prospects coming into the NBA draft.
That's raw.
Maluach is among the rawest of the raw.
Yeah, agreed.
Over the last many years.
Yeah, well, when we were talking about the differentiating the types of raw yesterday, this is definitely the raw that, you know, I am just learning basketball and figuring things out right about now. So, yeah, man, he's got a lot to work on, which is probably why I agree with Will that the Bulls won't go with him, because it feels like they want somebody that's ready, you know what I'm saying, or has enough tools to say, okay, we're ready. You don't need to add too much, but you know we need to work on some things. He needs to work on a lot because you don't know what he can be yet or what he wants to be. Do you want to be, like you said, a Chet Holmgren type, that kind of guy, or are we just going to use you because you're 7'2" and just use you on the defensive end, period, you know, and not consider you an offensive threat? Because he was good, and I'm glad you mentioned the switchability in that as well, because that was the other thing I wanted to mention. Like, he can definitely guard guards. Yeah. Like, you come off of that, he's got some nice footwork, and he's got some shiftiness to him that allows him to use his frame and to be in front of guards, and uses his size so they can't really get around him. And even if they do, swat because I'm tall. So he's got that. But I don't think the Bulls are going to be a team that is waiting for a guy to show himself. I think they're like, we already got Modest, man. We're developing this. You know what I'm saying? We're worried about this development right now. You want us to bring on somebody else we want to develop right now? Just because they have stated they don't want to be that team that's, you know, tanking. So when you're not a team that's not worried about being in the playoffs, that's your time to develop and, you know, your players that you're going to draft right now. I think they want a ready-made kind of guy, especially at a number 12 or higher. You want somebody ready to come in and do what they can do to help your team so you can get to that play-in or that playoff spot. So he's interesting. He's intriguing. He's somebody I would take a flyer on personally, but I don't think the Bulls will.
Yeah, at 12, I would feel very good about the Bulls taking him. I think it's more likely than not that he's gone by then. I think they'd be crazy to pass on him if he landed that far, just because of the potential there. I agree. Like, his feel for the game is not great, and he's not like an explosive, like Daniel Gafford type leaper,
who is?
But like he kind of reminds me of Mark Williams in the sense that he's like a huge body who can really take up a lot of space, but isn't like manipulating ball handlers like a Gobert quite yet. And maybe he gets to that point. I think he's going to be a very solid rim protector and shot deterrent. But I just think he's a little bit of a ways away. But I do think that the Bulls kind of understand where they are, and they're not going to like let him play 30 minutes right away. Okay. But I would not be surprised if like they had him, he's coming off the bench for the first part of the year, and then Vooch gets traded at the deadline and he, you know, steps into a bigger role. And then, you know, maybe the year after that, he's kind of more of the starting center. So I do think that they kind of know they need to rebuild with some younger players here, but I don't think that necessarily means, I mean, it's similar to Modest, right? Like they're not going to just throw him out there, but they are going to, you know, help him come along. And I think he's the kind of guy where it is a little bit easier to play in that box where you know what you have to do, when really all you have to do is like see ball, block ball.
Rob in the comments pointing out, if Khaman doesn't seem to help you win now, wonder if that works with the plan, because would Billy even play a raw center like him, kind of going along with what you were just saying?
That's kind of what I'm saying. Like he's going to, whoever they draft, that person will play.
Orlando saying Maluach probably is a player that needs a lot of development, would probably play a lot in the G League, similar to Davey boy, Dalen Terry.
I mean, Modest played in the G League last year.
He did.
And
I hated every minute of it.
That was great.
But it's like, hey, guess what? We still have our starting center. His name is Nikola Vucevic, guys. All right. With that, let us move on to a prospect that I don't think we have talked about yet, or if we have, only briefly touched on, and that is the Georgetown front court prospect, Thomas Sorber, 6'10", 255. He put up some really solid numbers for Georgetown this season, 14.5 points, 8.5 boards per game, 2 blocks per game. Very respectable, 53% from the field, 72% from the free throw line. Not much of a floor spacing big at this point, but you always like when your bigs can at least knock down their free throws. And that's, you know, just to circle back to Maluach briefly, 76% from the line.
Pretty good.
So there is some promise there when you're talking about these bigs and whether or not they can at some point in their career be a floor spacer as well. Brook Lopez didn't turn into a floor spacer until year 10 of his career.
Yes. True.
So this is the Ringer's latest mock draft has Sorber falling to the Bulls at number 12. J. Kyle Mann with a couple of blurbs about Sorber going to the Bulls, saying, "Prepare yourselves, my fellow Joakim lovers. Sorber is a throwback to the types of intelligent, gritty bigs who fueled the last era of success in Chicago. The game has changed since Joakim Noah's reign." Tear. But Sorber's usefulness goes beyond the obvious. He's a ball mover with the strength and physicality of a big, the length and mobility of a larger wing, with plenty additive offensive skills mixed in. He has the ability to switch and play both bigger and smaller than he actually is, a valued trait in today's NBA. And while he's more of a traditional interior four, certainly not the behemoth anchor the Bulls could use, his rim protection should aid Chicago's meh defensive differential, which is one of the kinder ways I've seen the Bulls' defensive differential described.
It's true.
I obviously am enamored by a description of a player that fits that bill. Can't really shoot the ball in a floor spacing way. Not the most athletic prospect among the bigs in this class.
Yeah.
But the court vision is there. The high IQ is there.
Mm-hmm.
He's a well-disciplined defensive player. All things the Bulls could use.
That's true.
Yeah, Sorber, like the other guys we're talking about today, Maluach, the prototypical rim roller, lob catching big. Derik Queen, who we'll get to next, kind of the Alperen Şengün, Domantas Sabonis type playmaker, facilitator. Sorber's kind of a throwback power forward, in my opinion. He's the kind of guy that would have been great playing next to, I don't know, David Robinson or something in the 90s. He's got a good back to the basket game. He's a smart player, as you mentioned. He's not really a floor spacer in the sense that he can really step out, but doesn't have a broken shot. I think he could develop a bit of a jumper. It's a little bit slow release, a little bit of a wind up there, but I think he's just a very solid player. He doesn't really wow me in the sense that he's got this untapped potential that could make him one of the best players in the class. I have him a little bit closer to 20 on my board. I think I have him 19th right now. And I think he would be really solid. But for me, the Bulls make sense for him if they're desperate to bring in a center. Maybe they trade Jalen Smith, Collins, and or Vooch on draft night, and they want to bring in a younger player to be that type of guy. I could see him becoming an Onyeka Okongwu type center where he's, pretty versatile. He's a good passer and facilitator, a little bit undersized to be a 5, good post game, but not really someone who's going to be a big, a pick and pop big, or a big lob threat either. So he's going to have to find ways to be productive. He's definitely got some interesting physical tools, and especially interior scoring, but I do question where he kind of fits in the modern NBA in terms of those two archetypes that we talked about of the pick and roll lob catcher versus the offensive hub. He doesn't really match either of those, but that doesn't mean I don't think he can still be productive.
It's true. First of all, shout out Shirtless Wonder.
Hey,
he was out there doing his thing. It's like Groundhog Day, baby. Shirts off, you know what's happening. Yes, everything you said is all I had in my head the entire time I was watching this young man was old school.
Yeah.
If this man came out in the 90s, he would be a top 5 pick. For real. He does everything on the interior really well. The scoring, the rebounding, as you mentioned, the free throw shooting. Oh my God, they would be salivating, over this kind of big back then. And he, again, you hit it on the head, perfect next to a versatile kind of center. You know what I mean? Like a David Robinson. Okay, he can't get his versatility in. Well, here goes the ball. Go ahead and get 30 and 10 real quick for me. You know what I mean? Because the ball's going to you. If you even want to go to a guy like a David West or something, you know what I'm saying, during his reign.
I was just thinking, honestly, Horace.
Yeah, or Horace Grant. Oh, yes, perfect. Just get you that mid-range jump shot, you know what I'm saying, and a great rebounder and a really solid kind of defender. But unfortunately, we can't go back. We only go forward, my man.
What?
And, not in this. We only go forward in this, unless he's going to change the game. You know what I mean? If he changes the game, shout out to him. Shout out to him. But in this instance, man, you look at the stuff that he kind of lacks and that quickness that he lacks and not really fluid. You know what I'm saying? And I don't like his feet. I don't like his footwork on the defensive end. I like it on the interior when he has the ball and when he's doing it like that. But I don't really like it on the defensive end because the first thing I thought was, oh, my God, they're going to put that dude in the switch and he's going to get cooked every single time. So, but and also coming from Georgetown, that's a lineage right there. There are just tons of great big men that come from Georgetown.
Ewing, Zoe,
come on,
Monroe, Harrington,
Mutombo.
There you go.
Like Hobart. Yes. There's so many. You know what I mean? And so he has a nice lineage that he's following, and he will be good. I think he'll definitely be a good NBA player. But I don't know if this is the player that the Bulls want, because it doesn't seem like this fits their style of basketball. If they were running maybe even a small ball kind of thing like that, then maybe that could work that way. But they still want a guy who can step out and take and shoot a three-pointer, even when it comes to being a center. It's honestly why it's a no-go. Is one of the reasons he's not here. Yeah, he was lacking the size, but that dude was getting rebounds all day. But he can't shoot. You know what I mean? And the Bulls were like, we can't really do anything with you with that. Not to say he's not a good player, because I still think he's solid. But the Bulls have a type. They have told you they have a type when it comes to that. So I don't think that they'll go for him. I think he can definitely play. He has showed you he is skilled. The field goal percentage shows you he's skilled. But was that 16% from three?
Yeah.
That's just not going to get
on 1.5 attempts per game.
Yeah. He knows it's not his thing. You know what I mean? But it's not to say he can't learn, maybe hit one or two a game, but I don't think this is the kind of guy the Bulls will go for. But I like him because this is old school right here.
Yeah.
I think in some ways he actually is more of who the Bulls would want than Maluach, even because he does have some ball skills. Like he is the kind of guy that could like be a short roll passer. And if he does develop his jump shot, which again, I think is a little bit of a ways away, like you could kind of imagine him trailing the play, walking into a three, attacking a closeout and making the right read, maybe more than Maluach, at least for me right now. So do the Bulls want to pivot into that? You've got Josh Giddey. He's a good pick and roll facilitator. You need to develop your half court offense a little bit. Having that vertical lob spacer, that would be really nice. Or do you go with something that you're a little bit more familiar with? It didn't really work that great with Jalen Smith. You want to bring in another guy like Collins, like Vooch, who can be more of a facilitator. I don't think he's like high enough level right now to be like starting center on day one.
Right, correct.
And I agree with that, but I also think that like he's not giving you, at least to me, enough of any area to feel really excited about it. Like at least Maluach is going to be an elite finisher. I don't know that I could say that for any skill set about Sorber other than maybe rebounding, where he is very good. But to your point, that's just not something that you build your team around.
Yeah.
But, if we're talking about the Bulls trying to hang their hats on offense more so than defense, but adding a quality defensive player like this, what can he offer you offensively? Obviously not yet a floor spacer or anywhere close to it, not a dominant post player, if that even exists in the NBA anymore. But the thing that I liked about what Danny Chow's scouting of him had to say in this Ringer mock draft is that he has a sense of where everyone should be on the floor, which makes him which allows him to make instinctive split-second passes out of just about every single play type. When you think about the offense the Bulls are now running, having a big and over, like a legit size forward or maybe at times a small ball five who has that in his toolbox, I think could be a beneficial thing for Josh Giddey, Kobe White, whoever it is, because it's one of the underrated, maybe undervalued things about Vooch over the last several years. And in this transition to this style of offense, he doesn't get a whole lot of credit or attention for it, but Vooch can make good passes from everywhere on the floor. It's when Lonzo did come back and play for 30-some games this season, we were reminded of just how valuable he is, because wherever he is on the floor, Lonzo knows, based on his quick reads, the next correct pass to make. It's why the Bulls were one of the best teams in the NBA as far as assists per game this season. They kept the ball moving. If your bigs can do that too, that will help.
Yeah, and that's one of the pluses as well is if he comes to the Bulls, this is a team with a lot of guards, and him knowing his role immediately will definitely help. You know what I'm saying, for those guards. He's not going to be outside. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to be more mid-range. This is interior presence. Having more brains on the floor is a really great thing. Having high IQs is awesome. So having a high IQ within that interior, as you mentioned, the passing, he is getting like 2 blocks and a steal, like a steal and a half or something like that a game. So it's not like he isn't, super trash on that end over there. But he has that IQ, and that helps when you're playing with those guards. It makes the guards' life easier, and it's kind of like just falling into something that you already know. They don't have to learn you. You don't have to learn them. I know what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's like talking to Matt. You know what I'm saying? Me and Matt having we already know which way stuff is going. You know what I mean? Or how it's going to go.
70% telepathy.
You know what I mean? That's how I go. 75.
75.
75. But so we already understand what it's going to be. We don't have to ask, and that's a great thing about a guard big man combination. Oh, I see you. You're on the interior. Guess what? Pick and roll's coming all day long. That's what we're about to do. Oh, that means you're not coming out here when I got the ball one-on-one. Cool. He's going to get this rebound, or he's going to post up, and I can give him the ball and feed him like that. So it helps in that sense.
So for me, like if the Bulls, let's say the Bulls don't move up and they're drafting 12, 13, or 14.
Okay.
If obviously your top 4 are off the board.
Tongue on 14.
Cooper, Harper, VJ, Ace, Derik Queen, Khaman Maluach, Colin Murray Boyles, Asengwe, and Carter Bryant. Those are kind of the guys I'd be interested in. So if all of them are off the board and the Bulls are drafting 12, 13, 14, you're picking between like Jace Richardson, Jeremiah Fears, Trey Johnson, Yakachonis, like Yegor Demon. These are guys that like are very much like clash with what the Bulls already have on their roster. Mm-hmm. So at that point, like I would not be upset about Sorber. I just don't think I would be like super excited about reaching on him because of all the things that we're mentioning. But I agree. Like if he's Onyeka Okongwu, I think Onyeka Okongwu is a great player. I think that's the kind of big that is versatile. He's kind of in the like, not quite Bam Adebayo, but like that style of player mold. And I think Sorber is probably not as like mobile and versatile and defensively oriented on the perimeter as those guys, but that's still a valuable skill set. And I think he could be a nice building block, but he obviously is not going to be like, the next Jokic or Embiid or someone who's like really your best player as a center. So that's just the challenge of building with centers. Like unless you have one of those top guys that you can really build everything around, there's no one that does everything at a super high level. You either get the shooting specialist or the rim rolling specialist or the switchable guy or the drop cover guy. There's just not someone that can do it all. And I think, Sorber can do a lot of good stuff and be really useful, even though he's not necessarily like this super high upside swing that I think, and maybe that's what the Bulls want. Like, I saw a comment about like, the Bulls not knowing who they are. I disagree. I think the Bulls know who they are. I think they're just like more content with it than I think a lot of people want to give them credit for. And so if he is someone that can plug and play, feels like you can be a part of the rotation from day one, or at least at some point during his rookie year, and you want to keep building and being competitive with a bunch of young guys that can be your future, like he could fit right into that. I think that does make sense.
Yeah, it depends on where they're trying to go.
Yeah,
right.
And most Bulls fans, I personally, like, you are still in a position where, hey, swing for the highest upside.
Yeah.
But AK is like, yeah, we're just like 6 or 7 good young players away from being a good young team.
Yeah.
So they might look to be like, yo, who can come in and help this young core play right now? More so than another project. But we also know that AK loves a project. He doesn't love completing them or succeeding at working on them, but he does like signing up for new projects and telling us all to be patient. Why don't you be patient? All right, with our remaining time, the Game Theory's latest mock draft that they did on their YouTube channel was a lot of fun, and in that one,
shout out Game
we have Derik Queen falling to the Bulls at 12.
Derik Queen.
Other people, like the Ringers one that we were just talking about that had Sorber going to the Bulls at 12, they got Brooklyn taking Queen at 6. So, and like, that's not new. I've seen Queen going in that sort of like back half of the top 10 a lot in a lot of mock drafts, not just recently, but for the last several months. We saw him come up big on the big stage with that game-winning, running, banking, left-handed shot in one of their tournament games.
That's true.
I mean, the dude had, I think, some underwhelming moments in their run through their tourney games, but also proved that he's certainly not shy of any big moments and is a force physically. My biggest question with Queen since I started watching tape of him is, will he be the same level of efficient physical force and his game translate successfully once he is banging around with NBA bodies? That's the part that I am not convinced of yet.
That is a great question. You want to know if he will rock them?
Yeah.
See what I did?
Hey.
Queen, we will rock. You see what I did? Come on with that. I told you Katie's a hater, bro.
Who cares about the booze? She's never seen The Wedding Singer, so
It's a
clearly
great
her
point.
opinions on music
That's true.
are also null and void.
Well, this is fair. But again, doesn't matter what I do. I'm going to get a boo. That's just how the rules go. But I still love her. It's all right. But I like Derik Queen, and I wasn't high on him at first, and then I talked to Will to go Gottlieb, and then I watched him, and I came back. I was like, oh, snap. Like, yo, Will, this dude is skilled. Like, he really might have something here. Like, I just saw him do everything, like, out there on the floor. And I hate bringing out superstars when I make comparisons, but it was like a mini Joker. You know what I'm saying? It was like I do a little bit of everything really, really well. Like, I just, on the offensive end, I'm saying, like, just handling the ball at the top of the key, making the right decision as far as getting to the bucket, make the right decision on the pass as well. And he just plays with no fear, you know what I'm saying, on that side of the ball. So I liked what I saw from him, but then I'm not super, like, I'm like in the middle on him though. Like, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
like,
no,
I'm in the middle on this guy. Like, I see it and I know what it can be, but then I'm like, yeah, I can also see this going really, really wrong and really, really bad. For him, like you said, will you be able to do that night after night? And I think that, again, we're asking mental questions. You know what I mean? Those are questions of what are you willing to work on? How long are you willing to spend in that gym? You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to have, you know what I mean, a roadblock. Like, it's going to happen. Yeah. Are you willing to plow through it, or are you going to try to climb over it? I'd rather you run through it. But
with his frame.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want him to run through that. So I'm curious, man. He just really fascinates me as a player because I'm really in the middle. Sometimes I get a little higher on him. Sometimes I get a little lower on him. But he is definitely skilled. Like, there's no doubt about that when I watch him.
And like, I mean, about that frame, he's listed at 6'10". I'm sorry, I don't buy it. I was watching all those games. I was like, this dude's not 6'10". 6'9", maybe. But he does have, like, he's got in his prime Charles Barkley, maybe back half of his prime Charles Barkley frame. Dude is built thick, he's strong, listed at 245. You know, I don't know if that frame will allow him to, as Dave just said, run through people in the NBA. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm actually kind of going the other way on Queen lately.
Let's go.
I think he is obviously very skilled, very talented. From a facilitation standpoint, especially, like, he didn't have a ton of assists. Just at Maryland this year, he was like, the assist numbers did not match what the eye test said in terms of his ability to create offense with the pass. He's a very talented player. I think he sees the court really well, understands like where players are going to be, knows the right reads. And I think you can play through him at the next level, whether it's like a DHO hub from the elbows or from the top of the key, or just like facing up from the elbow. Like, he's a really good scorer in that space. You saw obviously the game winner, that runner in the tournament, but also just like, he's got a decent mid-range shot. He's got great footwork. He can score around the basket. I just think he's like a very talented offensive player. Defensively, it's not great right now. Like, he's not terrible. Like, he has more blocks than I think he gets credit for. 3.8 block rate. We talked about Maluach having 6.8. So like, obviously it's different there, but he's not like deterring shots at the same level. He's not forcing teams away from the basket the way that Maluach is. And then the 3-point shot is just a work in progress right now. I think he only shot like 7 of 35 on threes this year. So if he can get his jump shot to a point where he's like comfortable there and can be like more of a pick and pop big and also pick and roll, either scorer or facilitator, I think you're cooking. Otherwise, I think it's going to be a little bit of a struggle because he is not a great 3-point shooter and he's not a great defender. And if you're neither of those things at the center position, you just have to be so immensely talented as a scorer and facilitator to not only be on the court, but like to be the guy that your offense is running through. So could I see it working out? Absolutely. And I think if it does, he could be maybe the second best player in this class. But I think there are probably more outcomes than not where some of that stuff doesn't work out and that really holds him back. So could he be like a Julius Randle, Boogie Cousins type, like probably a little bit smaller than Boogie, where he's like very talented scorer, good passer, but not the kind of guy that you're like building a championship team around? For sure. But I also think that like he has more offensive upside and intrigue than just about any player in this draft outside of Cooper and Harper, where I could absolutely see a team at 3, 4, 5 take a swing on him. Wow. But I could also see maybe teams be a little bit concerned about maybe the measurements at the combine, his weight, his wingspan, his height, any of that stuff. And now he's maybe starting to slip to 9, 10, 11, even maybe 12, or the Bulls have an opportunity to try to jump up a few spots to go get him. So
Let me ask a question for both you guys, and that's it for people watching on Fast. Go on over to allchgo.com if you want more. And overtime, we say curse words there.
Clickety clack.
Come on in. So, question for both of you all. When you say that, Goat, about he could be the second best player in this draft, do you think for him to be that kind of player, to realize his potential, he has to be a star? Like, does he have to be the star of your team or the second best player on your team for him to fully realize like how good he is?
I think like Alperen Şengün is a very good comparison where it's like, if you have the right pieces around him, like Amen Thompson, Tari Eason, really good defensive, switchable wings, athletic, that can like really help protect him, I think that would really work. But like you can also see examples of that happening where the guy just doesn't really quite work out that way. And because your team isn't constructed in this very specific manner, it's hard to get the most out of him. So I think like it's a similar conversation to Josh Giddey, honestly. It's like Josh Giddey is obviously incredibly talented with the ball in his hands, but is he so talented that you can win at a high level with him? Right. And if not, how does he perform when he's away from the basketball? If he's a non-shooter, if he's a bad defender, like Queen is, can he exist out there? Mm-hmm. And so in some ways, I think, yes, he does need to be a star. He does need to get to that level of offensive upside in production in order to really see the most out of him. And so that's why it's like, yeah, there's maybe some super high upside outcomes, but there's maybe more not downside, but just like outcomes where he doesn't quite hit that peak. And now it's just very hard to justify him. So like where I look at Sorber or Maluach, it's like, could they be, could I see them being like solid starters in the NBA for a long time? For sure. I think Maluach more than Sorber, but like I know what their role is going to be. I have an understanding of how you can build a team with those guys. With Queen, it's like if you got the right fit around him, if you got the right players, the right mix of guys and skill sets, like he could be awesome. Mm-hmm. But I could also see him being like a backup big that like you kind of run offense through off the bench because you can't really get away with that during, starting or closing time.
Sure.
Orlando in the comments saying the issue with Derik Queen is the fit. He might never be a defensive player. It's hard to have someone like him with Kobe and Giddey. So Orlando talking about the fit on just like, Kobe and Giddey and the defensive liability there. I think you can also just say offensively, he doesn't seem like a great fit out of the gate with Kobe and Giddey and the fast-paced offense that the Bulls have been running. Mm-hmm. So I think what Derik Queen excels at the best offensively, at least what we saw from him in Maryland, is like a slower half-court style of offense where he has, to his credit, the ball handling ability and the strength to put the ball on the floor, either back his man down, be his man, put his man in jail behind him on his back hip. And he's also got the good touch around the rim. He's a solid finisher with good touch. But all of that screams slow basketball, which I'm not necessarily saying is a bad thing. Look at the NBA playoffs right now. These games have come to a screeching halt compared to the Bulls' 103 possessions per 48 that we saw them play at this season. Yeah. And I'm not saying that, his offensive skill set and the best parts of it doesn't fit with Kobe and Josh, so don't draft him, because I am sitting here saying, are Kobe and Josh really our future? Is that who we're drafting around? If so, freaking Pope help us all, because that ain't good enough.
Yeah.
But if you're just talking about fit, he does not seem to fit what the Bulls and Billy Donovan did offensively this season.
Correct. And that's why I asked the question, like, because that's the concern I have. Is he only good if you're building it around him?
Right.
And if you're going to do that, how good do you think your team can really be? So those are the questions that he is going to have to answer and make teams more comfortable about. I'm sure there's a team out there, Will probably knows it better than I do, that, kind of fits, better for him, where he doesn't have to be that guy. Or maybe they're like, hey, you be the star of our bench. You know what I'm saying? We'll build you around you that kind of way.
Kind of said,
you could be that thing. But on the Bulls, though, I don't see it. I don't see it.
I actually do feel like he could be successful.
I feel like he needs the ball in
Bulls.
his hands more here. Bro.
Like, imagine, like, just grabbing a rebound and pushing up the floor and getting into, like, that early pistol action that the Bulls like to run, where it's like a dribble handoff coming up from the baseline, where he's gets the rebound, grab and go, get up the court, dribble handoff action with Kobe, and either roll into the basket. Kobe can, like, take a step back three or drive, dump it off to Queen, where Queen can now make a read. Like, I do think he could be successful in that. And And I also think that he could like provide some half court stability that the Bulls don't really have right now.
That's fair.
So I do think he could be a really good fit. I just think the defense would be, it'd be really hard to build a good defensive team. Like to me, the best fit for him is the Spurs. If you put him next to Wemby, who obviously can shoot it, but also back him up and protect the rim a little bit, that's where I think he would do the best. Some other fits like Washington, I think he'd be really good if they fall outside the top 3 or 4.
Okay.
You put him next to Alex Sarr, who can really protect the rim and also shoot. That would be awesome.
Okay.
I could see him succeeding next to Donovan Clingan, who I think will be able to shoot it a little bit and also protect the rim. And I say all this to say, like, he might be a power forward to me. And I think that's okay if you have the right infrastructure around him. I do think there's a very good chance that, like, I would still take him top 5 if I was most teams. Like, I'll probably have him top 5 on my board when it's all said and done. Probably no worse than 6 or 7 because I do think the upside is that high. But I also think that, like, there's more questions with him than Maluach or Ace Bailey or VJ Edgecombe, where it's like, those guys I know are going to be players in the NBA because I can see what their role is going to look like. And sometimes, like, great players, the reason they're great is because you don't really know. You haven't seen that before. Yeah. So I think Queen could be really good. And I think he could actually fit with how the Bulls want to play. I just think defensively that would be a real problem.
And that's what scares me because the teams you're mentioning are teams with defensive stalwarts at center already. And he's not going to play the 4. That's Modest. That's already there. So he's going to have to be that dude at center with Modest. And I just don't know how that works.
Yes, but do we have enough guards?
But like, let's say the Bulls were able to find a Maluach type center in free agency.
Okay.
So like a rim roller, and you could run some like 4 or 5 pick and rolls with him. Maybe Modest is playing the 3. He's able to bulk up a little bit and be better at the point of attack. And then you got Giddey, Kobe, Modest, Queen, and a center. Like, I could see that. I could definitely see that.
I could see it. Yeah, I could see it. It'll win you some games. I'm not saying it won't, but I'm just thinking more long-term on that because, like I said, everything is going to slow down at some point in time, and teams are going to attack you. You know what I mean? And get into the paint. And can he be a deterrer in that paint? I know Modest can help, you know, but they're going to need somebody to deter. If Vooch is not going to be there, Vooch can get away with it because Vooch was super skilled offense. This is 20 and 10. We know going in. So that rhyme. Is Derik Queen that guy that can be that 20, 10, and 5 guy? If he can do that, then okay. You know, I'll be like, fine. I'm not worried about the defense.
And I think that's possible. Like, I do think that he could produce that.
I mean, he's 16 and a half and 10 in college.
Yeah,
like,
he is. Yeah.
And he's a
9,
very good passer.
Still. By the way, shout out to Juan Miller in the comments who said, Matt Dave Goat recently became a diehard, and I swear my life has more swagger.
You better believe it, Juan.
You better Congratulations on the swagger and all of that great additional content that we reserve for diehards only.
Just like that Goat.
Just like the Goat's most recent mailbag that just dropped at the beginning of this week. Just like the soon-to-drop draft package extravaganza he's been working on with some of our fellow ALLCITY NBA crew.
I got a sneak preview.
How many names do you say you're currently working on?
We've got a database of 73 guys right now with just stats.
Let's go.
And then I've got like breakdowns, notebooks basically, where I'm talking about like strengths, weaknesses, questions, fits, player comps, all that stuff. I think I have 12 or 13 right now. So we're to try to get as many of those done ahead of the lottery on Monday. And I believe this will be ready to go on Monday. So definitely, if you want to become a diehard, now's the time to do it because that's when you'll get access.
The latest and best reason why.
Shout out Juan.
Be cool like Juan.
Be cool.
Before we get out of here, Katie, do we have a sufficient amount of likes for a take spin?
We do, yep.
Let's go. Get down to the nitty-gritty. Today's Thursday?
Today is Thursday.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday is 4 days away.
4 of them things.
Lottery, baby.
4 of them things.
My dream of getting a tank spin for every day this week is so close to coming.
So close to being realized.
Are we now 4 for 4?
We're 4 for 4.
Here we go.
All right.
Maybe this will be the lucky one, and it won't be the Spurs jumping up again.
All right. The reset has been hit.
Sim.
Oh, and we stay at 12. Man,
Thought the Pope was
I just love looking at that 39 and 43 record to the right of the Bulls logo. So great. Man, those late season wins were fun and super meaningful, right, guys?
Well, who moved up this time? That always changes. Brooklyn
Okay. Jumped up 5 spots to land Cooper Flag.
Oh man, and Phoenix moved up,
jumping up.
giving their
my
pick
God.
Houston, so
Is that pick unprotected?
unprotected?
Going to Houston.
Oh man.
Oh man. Oh man. Oh my God.
Wait, did you guys see? Katie said it in our Bulls Slack earlier today.
I did
the
see
new
it.
front office dude for the Suns.
I did see it.
With his repetition of certain
my
word
gosh.
usage.
Vision. Oh man.
AK couldn't even hold that dude's jockstrap
That's
with his
right.
repetition of triggering, buzzwords.
Triggering buzz.
What were they? Identity,
alignment,
alignment. That was his favorite. Oh man.
and vision.
Vision, identity, alignment.
Vision.
What do you want to bet the next time we hear from AK? We hear an alignment snuck in there.
Oh,
He's
it's
like,
in there.
did you call dibs on this vague word that doesn't mean anything? Co-dibs. Alignment.
Alignment a lot.
Alignment a lot.
A lot.
So you're telling me there's a chance. We're out of time for today. We'll be back tomorrow with one more episode to lead y'all into the weekend, our penultimate pre-lottery episode.
There we go.
Reminder, we're going to do a live special lottery show on Monday night right along with that lottery happening. I believe 6 or maybe 6:30 Central Time start time. Still going to be flexed depending on the playoff schedule that night. We will keep you posted exactly on the plan. But we will be here tomorrow at 4 o'clock again. In the meantime, follow the GOAT, Will_Gottlieb, read his stuff, ALLCITY.com.
Go play some Papa Shot.
Hey, big days at BOW, BNWL Sports. I'm Bulls_Peck. We are CHGO Bulls. Katie,
There was a poll?
the Queen, Duffy.
Was there a poll, Katie?
Something about the Pope.
It was about the
cares?
Pope. Oh, okay. All right.
No one cared. No, not about your poll.
All right.
About the Pope.
I'll just go F myself.
Oh, everyone
It's fine.
cares. Shout out to the Pope. Congratulations.
I won't go through the whole thing, but the question was, which Chicago staple should the Pope implement? The winner was damnation for the Green Bay Packers.
That's
So-
what I voted for. That's the correct answer.
You hooked him with damnation.
If you truly do have those powers, Mr. Pope. All right. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Hit the like button if you haven't done it yet on your way out. See you. Be good.
God bless. Peace.
Bye.
All city like the mayor.